Every month, Gameranx brings you the 10 best free iOS and Android games, and here's April 2016's. Number 10, Slithery, a massively multiplayer online snake game. Yes, you heard me. Basically, what you do is continually collect things and get bigger. The idea is to become the biggest snake, and the only way to lose is by running into another snake. Obviously, this makes it so that the goal of other snakes is to get you to run into them, and then that way they can scoop up your remains and become a bigger snake. It sounds deceptively simple, and honestly, mechanically, it is pretty simple, but it's not a simple game, and some people are employing some fairly advanced tactics in it at this point. The game's highly addictive, so, if you get sucked into games easy and don't want to get sucked into a game, this is probably a bad idea, but I don't know, usually I like that. Number 9, Loop Drive 2 is another deceptively simple game in which you drive around in a circle. Now, if that was all, then it really probably wouldn't matter, but there's another car driving around in another circle. The circles intersect, and you have to accelerate and decelerate and avoid hitting any of the other vehicles that are also driving around in that circle. The controls include brake and accelerate, and frankly, it can get very chaotic, and believe it or not, I was doing the whole foot brake thing. You know, when you press the brake like you're driving a real car with your real foot, when you look like an idiot because you're playing a little Crossy Road looking game. Yeah, it's actually pretty immersive, and you'll notice a lot more obstacles eventually get thrown into the mix. I like the original, I think it warranted a sequel, and this delivers. Number 8, Marvel Avengers Alliance 2, which is actually, believe it or not, is a turn-based JRPG style battler. You're probably thinking, well, that's a weird idea, and it kind of is, but it surprisingly works pretty well. Now, I didn't really play the first one, but I have to say, being a huge fan of JRPG battles, and somebody who rather enjoys the Avengers, it was kind of a natural thing for me to enjoy. And it's not like you just play against the computer endlessly. It's a social JRPG battler, which is why I hesitate to call it a JRPG itself, and truthfully, those are things that I would eventually really like to see. But just having Marvel characters in a JRPG battle environment, believe me, it's more than enough to keep me satisfied at least for a while. Number 7, Hammer Bomb, which is, believe it or not, a first-person dungeon crawler. But it's kind of with a twist. If you combine some elements of Pac-Man with a first-person dungeon crawler, that's what you have in Hammer Bomb. Essentially, you run around a maze, collect little yellow dots, although I would say coins probably, in search of an exit, but you also have to deal with enemies. The enemies can range from large eyeballs to crows, depending on the environment, and you either have to avoid them or hit them with a hammer. You'd be shocked how good this game plays, and at this point, it's obviously a good choice to use the voxel aesthetic, the sort of Minecraft look. It's a fun game and very addictive, and you're gonna waste a lot of time with it. Number 6, The Walking Dead Dead Run is exactly what it sounds like. It is an endless runner in which you basically attempt to gun down as many zombies. You know, the dead. You'll have to stop every once in a while because one will be in your way. You'll have to hit them with a crowbar or something. And it's fairly simple, but it's also a lot of fun. And I have to say as well, it's also a gorgeous game. The art style, the choices that they made, it's a little bit risky, and I have to say the risk pays off. The aesthetic actually does have an effect on the gameplay of the game, which is very cool. And generally, if you like endless runners, especially ones with combat, this is going to be a game that you definitely want to play. Number 5, Dark Sword, which no, is not really trying to cash in on the Dark Souls idea. It does have a vaguely similar aesthetic, but this is far more arcade-oriented than Dark Souls would ever even pretend to be. It's fast-paced, the aesthetic again, a little similar to Dark Souls, but at the same time, the silhouettes used for the gameplay are a great choice. I think that you're going to find for arcade combat, it's very hard to beat Dark Sword, and really for combo-based gameplay, I don't think you're even going to want to bother with anything else this month. Number 4, Miitomo is kind of a weird thing. It's kind of a social network, but kind of just a weird question-asking game. You earn points, you can dress up your Mii with those points, and I actually played it for quite a while, because for whatever reason, you'll get lost in the Miitomo. I love posting the random images you can generate to my, actual social networks. And I have to say, it's really easy to waste a lot of time with this thing. I will say, I wish there was a little bit more to do that was like among an actual game, but I have a feeling that Nintendo isn't just done here. Number 3, Tales of Link, which is actually a game where all of the Tales games characters come together to create one big story. Now, the battles are pretty cool because they obviously involve linking the various characters that you have to create different movesets, and in its own weird way, it's a matching battler, I would say. It does have a story, although I will say it's not quite as involved as the rest of the Tales games. That being said, it's a lot of fun, and I mean a lot of fun. This is a game that is worth your time, not only for fans of the Tales series, but for fans of innovative battle systems. This is a fun battle system that does throw a few curveballs your way, and that's something I like, especially in mobile games. Number 2, Disney Crossy Road. Now, I don't know if I really need to describe exactly what this is. It's Crossy Road with Disney stuff, but at the same time, really, you don't need an excuse to say Crossy Road is fun. It's actually one of the most catchy and enjoyable mobile games of the last few years, and the inclusion of Disney characters gives you a very good reason to get back and play it again. Frankly, I've already spent so much time in the Crossy Road world, to include Disney characters just gives me an excuse. And finally, number 1, Kingdom Hearts Unchained X. Essentially, this game is a social RPG where you play in the Kingdom Hearts universe. It doesn't play battle system-wise a whole lot like Kingdom Hearts. It's more closer to what you expect from a social RPG, in that it's turn-based, and it uses kind of a point system for what you get to do. In this game, it's called medals. Something I do particularly like about this, the leveling up is done in a manner that really resembles Final Fantasy X, and a lot of people liked that system, including myself. You essentially have a grid and you spend points on what you want to level up, and it's highly enjoyable. My one criticism would be that the level battles are kind of easy, whereas the boss battles are kind of hard, so it's not necessarily entirely balanced, but that's kind of a minor gripe. And a couple of bonus games for you. First is Pktball, which is kind of a cross between tennis and Pokemon, if that makes any sense. Pathfinder Adventures, which is a card game ported to mobile, and I would have to say it's one of the better ones. Spellspire, which is a fun little spelling game with a retro aesthetic that would be good for learning, but it's also just a fun game. What did you play this month? Did you play any of the games that we recommended? Let us know in the comments what you thought, and also if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you're not subscribed to Gameranx, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every single day of the week, and the best way to see them first is always a subscription. Thank you very much for watching this video, and we'll see you again next time right here on Gameranx.